another movie. We'll go ahead and continue on here. I can't believe this, but we had never, ever reviewed this on the show, and that is Halloween H20, which I think is one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, this is one I can't believe we never did, but I don't think we ever even really talked about this movie that much.
The only thing that I could find that we even talked about the movie is we did a brief Blu-ray review that had, I think it was 6 and H20 on it, but we didn't even talk about the movie hardly. It was just us bitching about the transfer of the Blu-ray, I think. So I did find that, but as far as the actual review goes, we've never ever reviewed H20 until today.
So the easiest way I can review H20 is just to say it's Scream. It's the Halloween Scream movie. It's like, this is when that was the thing to do. And anybody that knows, you know what I'm talking about too, because you've got like a formula that started with Scream where you got like all this dialogue. Like there's tons more dialogue, and it's all like early 2000s-ishy, kind of like late 90s, witty, sarcastic. And you got, the teens and everything that are kind of angsty, a little bit more angsty than that you had seen in the past. And it just follows the same formula. And Kevin Williamson was writing all this shit, and like it was just all over the place at that time. Urban Legend and Valentine and Scream and fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer.
The Valentine is on sale right now if you want to go to the what is it called? The Scream Factory Shocktober sale. Shocktober.
Yeah. Shocktober, baby.
It's time for you to get the collector's edition of Valentine, boy.
That'd be awesome.
I was thinking about this movie, though, we'll get back to Halloween H20, though. They need to do a collector's edition of Soul Survivors, The Final Cut. Uncle Bill, that's what I want to see.
That movie.
With Elijah Dushku and that creepy son of a bitch from American Beauties in it.
I'm still trying to figure out what that movie was about to this day. Like, we watched it at least 2 or 3 times. So I still don't have any idea.
Yeah, I was like, we need to check that out again. I mean, there's something we must have missed there, but I don't know.
No, I don't think there is.
They said it was the final cut, so hopefully they didn't. Anyway, I watched this again recently, Halloween H20, for probably the first time in, it's probably been 10 years or longer. The transfer on this one looks really freaking good. Like if it's way better than, I think Echo Bridge Entertainment was doing the Blu-rays, and that was the one we were probably talking about. But yeah, I mean, the plot of this one is it's kind of like a restart almost. They're forgetting everything from Halloween 3 through 6. So it's kind of almost like the official Halloween 3. Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, she's changed her name. She is the head mistress at a private school in California. And Josh Hartnett, it's his debut film here, or one of his first films. I can't remember his, one of his definitely early films. He plays her son. The whole plot of the movie is it's all set at that school, and all the students, aside from Josh Hartnett, his girlfriend, and a couple other friends, are gone away to a vacation trip or whatever. And the boogeyman he's coming to look for Laurie Strode after 20 years.
Yeah.
And so Laurie is like a drunk now. What's her name in this movie? She changes her name, right?
Yeah, she changes it. I can't remember either.
I don't know.
But
she's drunk now too, so she's using that to cope with the post-traumatic stress of 20 years ago.
Which is kind of where they went in like the Halloween reboot too. Like that was her thing in that movie.
This movie. They also forgot this movie.
They did, yeah. But the weird. Okay, here's the weird thing about it. If you really look at this movie, though, it would have been the perfect ending to the original series of these movies. I mean, the way that it ends, it should have been the last one before they started dicking around with them. But I guess it did pretty well because it was kind of like I said, like the Scream model of Halloween, and people were excited that it came back at that point, and so they had to make another one, which screwed everything up. But anyway, about this movie though, I think like it's shot completely differently, like the cinematography, the editing. It's shot like a Scream film. It really
Hmm.
is. Like that, I
A
can
lot of the
explain.
dialogue is like a Scream movie too.
Yeah, and so if you're tired of that at this point, then you probably won't like this because, like I said, Part Six is really the last of those films that were shot a specific way, where the pace was slower and the editing was slower, and this is like hyperdrive, Michael Myers as compared to all that
Hmm.
stuff. And if you like that kind of thing, it'd be a much better film. It's much more action, but it just depends on what you're into, I guess. Hi.
Uh, Also, though, something I really noticed this time around, I guess because I was looking more, is almost each scene that Michael Myers is in this movie, he has a different mask on almost, it seems like.
Yeah.
You notice that? And there's actually the one scene that has the CGI mask that's like, where he's killing the guy in the, where he's trying to get something out of the drain or whatever. And he
Yeah, with the
jerks around there
garbage
and you see
disposal.
like yeah. So, and there's actually one scene in the beginning with Nancy Stevens' character from and I really like that scene too, where they brought her back from the original. She was the nurse in the original movie, and the mask in that one is a mask from Halloween 6. So that so they
Yeah.
used so they used like 6 or 7 different masks in this. It seemed like to me. You know that? She didn't pay attention to that. She enjoyed the movie though. She enjoyed Halloween H20. I enjoyed it.
I
Like I said,
think
it'd been a while. It's almost too short of a movie to not enjoy. It's only 86 minutes. It's the shortest Halloween movie they've ever made, I believe.
it's one of those too that you could just like you could jump into that film and not have seen any of the other films and know exactly what was going on because it's basically like, hey, none of that other shit happened. So if you've seen Halloween, then you kind of know where it's at.
Int- Interesting story though that I've been doing some research on this shit because I'm a professional horologist. I've just renewed my license this year for the first time in about 6 years.
Right.
I'm not lying about that. That's the truth. From the Floyd County Board of Horror. So this movie does have a scene that's evidently it was recorded where one of the characters in the movie, what was her name? Jodie Lynn O'Keefe played the character in the movie. So there's a scene that was evidently recorded in this that was supposed to make it a real sequel to 4, 5, and 6, where she talks about the history of Haddonfield and serial killers and Michael Myers or whatever, and talks about like how Laurie Strode had been killed in a car wreck and what happened to Jamie Lloyd and all that stuff. Evidently, it was filmed, but the deleted scene has never been seen. So that would be really interesting if that was actually found. I would love to see that and see what all was they were trying to connect to because from what I understand, like let's see here, it was what was his name, the Scream guy.
Kevin Williamson.
Kevin Williamson was a big fan of the Halloween franchise as well. So evidently he did come up with that was one of the scenes that got cut, or some say that they may not have ever recorded that, but it would be cool if they did. I would love to see that and how it they try to connect the movies together. But other than that, there was no mention of any of the in the actual movie. It's almost like none of that stuff ever happened.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you about too that I've been thinking about more recently. Like, with that being said, it's always kind of like I've kind of liked this and hated it, and I have a love-hate relationship with the idea. Like, what do you think about the whole Michael Myers is, Laurie Strode's brother angle? Because it's been like in some of the films, and then in some of the films they're like, no, forget about all that shit. Like, so which would you say would be a better fit?
I would go with that because otherwise it would make no why her? You know what I'm saying? To me,
Yeah.
it makes and they went. I think with H2O, they were still saying it was his. They were brother and sister. I don't believe they did it with Halloween, the 2018. Or my
No, in
I've
that
always
one, like
yeah
in that one, she explains it away. She's like, no, that was just some rumor that some tabloid made up or something. Like, she's like, that it was never true.
yeah
And see, here's the thing. Like, I feel like the only reason they did that was because at that time, like Empire Strikes Back and shit was really popular. And I feel like
right
that was the same kind of thing that they were doing. On the one hand, I liked it at the time because you're right, it did like help explain why. But on the other hand, it takes away the idea that he's just some mindless evil. He doesn't really have a real purpose. He just picks these people to kill, and
right
that he just sees it through, I guess.
yeah. So I mean, I guess with the Halloween 2018, that was just a straight up sequel to the first movie. It was almost like part two never happened then, right?
It was, yeah. It was just like forget everything else after part one, and like he didn't have any connection to the family. There's none of the other stuff.
Right.
He just targeted that house for whatever reason.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed though H2O as well, though, going back, and it was fun to revisit it. And like I said, I think a lot of these movies would benefit from a shorter runtime as well. Like even the Friday the 13th movies aren't very long. The movies that run past 90 minutes, they better be damn good. Uh, you know, for me, and most of them are freaking 2 hours long anymore. So
Yeah, I liked it because it was at the beginning of the resurgence of those horror films, like right around when Scream and Blair Witch and all that stuff came out. This was like right there. I think I saw it in high school, and it
oh
came
yeah,
out.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was like 98, the summer of 98 or something like that. So it was right when we was getting out of high school. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's a fun movie and it was good to revisit. And technically, there's only one Halloween movie now that we have not reviewed, and we were just talking about it. So I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that.
Oh,
Halloween
2018.
2018. Yeah, and then we will convene back here at a future date. Reconvene.
Yeah, I mean that movie's probably pretty divisive among fans, I would say, but probably not as divisive as like Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's like I think that's the
No.
most polarizing films I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big difference, and we'll talk about it in depth, is like you can tell that David Gordon Green was a fan of the Halloween movies by watching it, uh, unlike Rob Zombie shit. So
Yeah,
we'll just leave it at that.
I'm just glad they're not letting him make movies anymore. I don't think they are anyway.
Who Rob's? Oh, he'll be back. He'll be making the Haunted World of El Super Beasto in 3D.
And the only thing they're letting Eli Roth do is these freaking Halloween horror things on AMC.
Well, he's doing Eli Roth's History of Horror on AMC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As long I don't care if he does that. I just don't want him directing any more films.